Interview erased? What do you mean it got erased? It did? They deleted it.
So a few days ago, a video went viral sharing the thoughts of the Dragon Quest creator who expressed his concerns about censorship of this game in order to make it into Western markets. That video has since been deleted, and a lot of people believe this is an act of further censorship. Now, before we get into the most recent updates, I covered this situation a few days ago, and to sum up what was taking place in this video, and if you want the full story, I'll put a link to this video in the description. Essentially, there's a lot of concerns about this remake. There was concerns about the biological genders being removed from the game and replaced with Type A and Type B body types. On top of that, some of the iconic designs of this game have been censored in the remake, and all of these concerns were addressed by this video that went viral on Twitter, where the Dragon Quest creator alongside the former editor in charge of Dragon Ball would talk about those two issues in particular, both citing them as acts of censorship that they clearly didn't like. And on top of that, they blamed a lot of the censorship on the demands of the Western market, in particular the United States. And they really just didn't understand why they have to go through all these hoops in order for these games.
Well, it's hard to understand if you're thinking logically. Yeah, you would never be able to come to this conclusion logically. You'd have to be stupid and crazy, and then you'd understand it.
To be properly labeled or rated and properly introduced into those markets overseas. Now, since then, that video has been removed. The tweet sharing it has been removed, and also the YouTube video with that interview has been taken down. For reasons we'll get into later in this video, but a lot of people believe this is a further act of censorship trying to cover up the tracks of this video, and also the statements made by the Dragon Quest creator that was seemingly questioning some of these acts of censorship for this remake. So in wake of that video going viral, a lot of people are coping and seething on Twitter. They saw the creator complaining about censorship of his game, and they turned around and called him a Nazi, a bigot,
what?
among other things. It's absolutely insane. Here's some examples. So this user saying, Yuji Horii going Nazi was not on my bingo sheet.
Okay. So, I found them. Shinigami eyes red equals block. 25 years old talking about Shinigami eyes? What the fuck? How did the inmates take over the asylum? What is this? What happened?
Where a further conversation would ensue in this thread, this person saying, Yukio, what in the blue blazes are you talking about? How does that make him Hitler? Where they reply saying, pretty much welcoming culture war tourists who tend to be Nazis.
So this is, again, this goes back to what I said, is that a lot of people on Twitter have misunderstood the word Nazi, because none of them, you have to understand that in schools nowadays, you don't learn anything. The only thing that you learn in schools is different drills in America on what to do when there's a school shooting. You just spend all day learning that, and apparently it doesn't matter anyway. But anyway, so you have this happen. Nobody knows when World War II happened. Nobody knows history. Nobody knows how to do math. Kids can't read clocks anymore. And they think the world started 2,000 years ago. They're just fucking retarded. So when they use the word Nazi, you have to understand that they don't know what that word means. So you have to look at it as its phonetic definition. Not see. They're not seeing their point of view, which makes you a Nazi. That's as far as it goes for them. That's it.
You're responding here with, by complaining that the game they made had to be censored.
They're dumb as hell.
You can't chastise someone because grifters will latch onto a thing. Look at how much stuff I call out on a daily basis that some grifter might too. Where the original poster responds saying, it was censored because of Cero, and that's been consistent for over a decade. The Type A and Type B stuff is not censorship. Where the other user replies saying, I mean, they outright...
It's crazy how you get like literally 0 likes on this.
Said it was due to Western Puritans.
They said
the sex education thing was a mistranslation, and that mistranslation is going to be very important for the end of this video, so keep that in mind. But eventually, in a deleted response, that original poster would just straight up admit that they didn't even watch the video. They didn't even watch this interview.
No, I haven't watched the video. I haven't had the time. You know what really fucking makes me mad about this is that you think that we believe that a 25-year-old who's reposting pictures of anime girls in revealing clothes on a regular basis on their timeline, who's complaining about an anime not being the same way they want, calling people Nazis, that you actually think that we believe that you didn't have time. All you have is time. Like, guaranteed. Like, you really think this guy didn't have time? I guarantee you he has time.
So they're calling this creator a bigot,
a Nazi, for a video they didn't watch.
Over a video they didn't even watch. And the video is like less than 3 minutes, by the way. So you don't have the attention span to watch that video, but you have the attention span to make this long thread calling them a Nazi. It's absolutely
And then
insane.
argue with people about it.
Now, in some other conversations, we saw users pointing out the fact that a lot of people are wagging their fingers at these Japanese creators and saying, basically, we know what's best when it comes to censorship.
I think Japanese people are often extremely conservative dumbasses. My favorite thing about this is, like, this guy or girl, I don't know, I guess it's a guy if it says Evan, is one of the most prolific virtue signalers on Twitter. And it's actually crazy how easy it is to turn them into being a fucking racist. All you have to do is disagree with them. Like, really, it's nuts. Yeah, so he's actually racist, exactly. And this, I've said this a million times, right? This is the way these people really are. Oh my God. The tweets are all deleted too. These people are insane. And they say Elon ruined Twitter. Yeah. Well, I don't mind these people being on Twitter. I think it's good to see this. It's great. I support their freedom of speech because it makes great content. But what the fuck? What is this?
Your values are skewed, and we have to remind you what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And users, as you can see here, are basically saying that's very infantilizing and offensive to say about a group of people, where this user responds saying, I think Japanese people are often extremely conservative dumbasses.
Wow.
Yeah, so on Twitter, in case you don't know, the only thing that's comparable to the open racism against white people is racism
against Asians.
Racism against Japanese people. Like, those are...
I don't think that's true. I think it's racism. So, I mean, to be fair, there's a lot of bad stuff about Jews now. There's a lot. I feel like on the racism tier list, where do I see the most racism? I feel like it's probably, always has been. Yeah, that's true. It's like, what, 109 countries or something like that, right? So yeah, definitely always has been. But holy shit. It's funny for me to see this because these are the people that will call you the racist, and they immediately are racist, instantaneously.
Two things that are rarely questioned, and they just thrive for some reason on social media. Those are safe targets to go after, and we see this happen every time there's drama involving a Japanese company or a Japanese person. There's always some weird racist remarks that largely go unquestioned. But here's another example from someone...
Well, it's okay for them to be racist. It's simple. That's why it's okay to call white people crackers. But if somebody makes a racial joke or they use the N-word with an A singing along to a song, then now this person needs to be admonished and make a public apology. That's what it is. It's totally... Once you realize that a lot of these people, the only thing that they care about is making other people do what they tell them. And it doesn't, like, there's no North Star principle here. There's not like we care about this issue and we want to fix this issue. No, it's all about them. It's all about them and listening to them and having them tell you what to do. That's it.
And trying to claim that they're a part of the Dragon Quest community, making this little comic here saying that the essentially the Dragon Quest community doesn't care about DEI and censorship of their game, which is ridiculous. If you support censorship of a hobby, you are not a part of that community. I don't care if it's Dragon Quest or anything else. If you support censorship, you should not be a part of the community because you don't have their best interests in mind. And this user would respond basically saying you're fighting a straw man to feel good about yourself, where that original poster...
This is automatically moot because you're a pedo. Good day. What?
Replies by saying, this automatically moot because you're a pedo. Good day. Yes, the classic Twitter tactic of running out of any sort of a real argument and then just labeling your opponent as a predator and just slandering them because you have no actual response.
What the fuck?
And we would see something similar here, as shared by this account. As expected, Dragon Quest fans are already turning on Hori and trying to paint him as some kind of an extremist because he doesn't want his own game to be censored. I've seen people in the past few days calling him a Nazi, a chud, wishing on his death, etc., all because he spoke up. And here's some examples. Basically, some people are saying, I'm Japanese, these translations seem correct. And even one of the detractors says, well, the translations seem mostly correct, but I'm not going to watch it again because having to listen to two 70-plus old dudes ramble on about the good old days of not having to care about offending people makes my brain hurt.
So I'm not going to watch it. This is, wait, so at the beginning of him saying that, I actually thought that he was just making it up and like paraphrasing, but no, this is literally what they said. I was reading the bottom. I'm not going to watch it again because let me listen to service. Oh my God. It's crazy how okay these people are with censorship. See, you have to redefine it in your mind. They're not okay with censorship. They want control. They want to tell people what to do. It's not about whether something is good or bad. It's about whether you're listening to them or not. So once you look at it, you can't, again, this isn't a principled stance. It doesn't make sense. So like, oh yeah, we're about inclusion, but now these old people don't have an opinion. It's just, again, everybody can see this. What about being 70 years old makes your opinion less valuable? Because this poster is probably 21 years old and they think that they're the smartest person that's ever existed. That's why. Like, that's the reason why. I mean, it's simple. Like, all I know is that every person that I know personally that has opinions like this, that I've, like, grown up with, every single one of them was a socially dejected loser that nobody liked. Like, I'm talking like 100% of them. Straight up.
Yes, it makes your brain hurt to hear people who
now
are
they have other losers and they get together.
Their entire life doesn't have to basically revolve around not offending a bunch of sensitive people on social media. But they go down here to continue talking about these people in the interview, trying to slander and label them all kinds of ridiculous things all over politics. And this interaction further here, it really just sums up how delusional some of these people are. So this user says, no way 70-year-old Japanese men talking about the good old days where they could sexualize underage girls in their games. I would have never seen it coming. Where this user says, Dragon Quest is like the least pedo game out there. What are you talking about?
Here's the reality. There are plenty of games that sexualize underage characters right now. That's not like that didn't go away. Like, how could you even say this? Yeah, gotcha games. Yes, it's insane. Not Dragon Quest though. Exactly. So it's like, well, what I'm saying is like the premise for what he's even trying to put out there isn't even true.
And another user said,
it's weird.
They have not sexualized any underage girls, and these men are renowned grandfathers of JRPGs. Show some effing respect. Where they're hit with a negative downvote here.
You have to understand that Reddit is a echo chamber, and also Reddit moderators control the way that communities perceive things. And all the time, I see Reddit posts that go against what the established line of thinking is. I see them get deleted, and I see people get banned all the time. So you can't really, like, any comment and any conversation that happens on Reddit, you shouldn't give it any validity at all, because you have a number of different things that are working against you here. Number one, there is the reward structure of groupthink that Reddit is designed in order to facilitate. So, like, they want you to think like everybody else, because if you post the thing that's popular, you get more updates, which makes your account score go higher, which makes people think that you're more correct. So you have also inside of subreddits people that are going to naturally congregate that agree with each other. And then you also have moderators that, if you're going outside of what the window of what's acceptable in that subreddit say, then they ban you. So you're either getting banned, you're getting silenced passively by having your opinion downvoted, or you're getting downvoted, and then people just by, I forgot, like, just basically, like, you know, they just see, like, oh, there's a popularity bias. This seems unpopular. That means it's wrong. Reddit is just, it is the worst place to have critical thought and critical discussion. It is literally the worst place, and it is designed that way.
Insane. Someone getting bashed on Reddit for saying don't slander people over drawings. I mean, it's the most Reddit thing, honestly. Let's be real. It's actually the most on-character thing for any Reddit interaction. But continuing on, the internet is forever.
Autism
right?
capital.
So they take down the original tweet and the YouTube video, but everyone's seen it, right? The message is out there. People understand the concerns that were expressed in this video. And it's
yeah, I mean, also, somebody says, unironically, 4chan is good for critical thinking sometimes. If I want to know what people really think, I go to 4chan. Give a man a mask and he'll show you his true face. And the most schizo, insane, batshit crazy, delusional, dumb fucking opinion is on there, and it has just as much weight as the next guy who has a well-researched argument. And there is a degree of, what's the word for it? There's a principle in that, where everybody really is the same. Everybody gets the same voice, the same box that they can speak in, and everybody can have their opinion. It's fair. It's true equality. Yep, that's right. No discrimination. That's right.
Re-uploaded in many different instances, including this particular post that is still up as of recording this video, that actually got way more impressions than the original video. This one racking up 18 million views on Twitter, and part of the reason it got so much attention is because Elon Musk...
Somebody says Reddit has a professional community. You're being crazy. That's exactly why I think it's bad. It's because people that operate in a professional capacity are operating in a disingenuous way. That's why, for example, like, that's why I said LinkedIn is really bad, because a lot of people that are posting on LinkedIn are doing it to keep up appearances. Like, everybody's acting, right? Like, you're acting.
Would quote retweet this and, of course, give it a lot more of a signal boost than the original video had. And people got very upset about this. Seeing Elon Musk engaging in this conversation, you have people like this saying, "You stay away from Dragon Quest," which leads to this amazing quote right here where this user says, "What's truly insane is that these weirdos' takeaway from this Dragon Quest thing is that wokeness is ruining games and censoring them, when it is literally and always has been the religious right that is censoring them. How can you possibly get to that conclusion?"
Well, I think that people can get to that conclusion because they lived past the year 2004. They're right. This is exactly what used to happen. Like as a kid, I grew up in the 90s, right? Very regularly, there were arguments and things on Fox News, and your local news would talk about how video games are satanic, Pokemon is satanic. It was very, very common, especially in Texas. Yeah, like I remember in 3rd grade, it might have been 4th grade, one or the other. I got sent home with a sheet of paper where they wanted me to give it to my mom, and it was about how Pokemon was satanic and it was like pocket monsters and shit. And my mom was just like, she read that, she's like, wow, they're really stupid over there, okay. And she just didn't really care. But she also didn't let me have Diablo for the same reason. But yeah, she didn't give a fuck. But this is the way that people thought. And so the funny thing is that what this person is saying is actually true. And there is a lot of religious censorship. And I'll give you an example of that that's contemporary. In Final Fantasy 16, the game featured a gay character. And the gay character, Dion, plays an important role in the story, and his sexuality is like kind of involved. Like it's not like super, it's not like a main plot point, but it's like kind of relative. And in the process of that, in order to sell this game in the Middle East, guess what needs to be removed? Well, this story with, I think his name's Terrence, right? Which is like his boyfriend or something like that. And Square Enix decided not to do that. Now, why did they want to censor it? Well, simple. It's because, they live in a theocracy in a lot of places over there. And it's a, Islamist theocracy. And they're not really big fans of gay people. So it's not that this doesn't happen. But it's that it's bad when they do it. And it's bad when anybody does it. Like if you're taking your ideology and you're trying to make people's art conform to your ideology, then you're invading their space, and you're being controlling. Like it's obnoxious. Like contains spoilers, yeah, sure. And so that it doesn't matter like who it's coming from. It's stupid when like the Middle East does it. It's stupid when we do it. It's always stupid.
The 90s called, and they want their discourse back. This whole thing about religious groups censoring games has not been a thing, at least in the United States, for many years. In fact, you think about what's being censored and how it's being censored here. Do you think any religious organization would support a type A and type B body type? I'm pretty sure they would support the exact...
Yeah, God, Adam was like a type A and, Eve was a type B. Like, no, obviously fucking not.
Opposite of that. And these people don't understand the closest thing to religious censorship here, or censorship from any sort of religious group, would be these woke people censoring these games, because they function much like a cult. So if there's anything close to a religious group censoring anything, it is the wokeness.
I do think it's a dogmatic, like ideological cult. I think that like 2 other examples of that are like, I think there's a lot of Trump people that have devolved so much that it has become a cult. And I think the same thing is true with QAnon. Like those are other cults, and they function as religions. They're not religions, but they function the same way.
Just like a bunch of fanatics. And that's how they censor all of these things and demand that these things be censored. And anyone who talks out against it guys. Is dismissed as some sort of a horrible, disgusting person. But going on, you think about what we just saw there, and the type of people that these companies are dealing with, and what these creators in particular are dealing with. Don't forget that Square Enix was a Sweet Baby client. At least they were publicly listed as one only up until a few days ago. Now they have their name removed from this list, and whether they're continuing to work with Sweet Baby in the background, just not showing it publicly.
Let me see. Where? Wow. True. Yeah, I'm not seeing Square Enix anywhere here. Man, there's 2 names less than in the video? Yeah, I guess so. Let's see what the other one that's not there now. I'm not even entirely sure. But either way, man. So it looks like they did get removed.
They have been working with Sweet Baby for quite some time, and don't be mistaken, there's definitely some sort of an influence on the direction of that developers, because it's clear that they've gone that route with their products, and you're really just dealing with insufferable people. And this is a quote from the interview saying doing business with such a ridiculous country is really frustrating, referring to the United States, because we have people like Sweet Baby constantly trying to wedge their way into every project. We have a bunch of people crying on social media over the most benign things and demanding things be changed to essentially conform with their delicate sensibilities. It must be exhausting. Now, let's go back to the original post sharing that interview. Like I said, all traces of that original poster's videos have been removed, and a lot of people have come forward in articles and Twitter threads over the past couple of hours, basically dismissing the entire interview as the product of mistranslations. Basically saying the entire interview and everything they said is completely worthless because it's all mistranslations. But in reality,
it's all
there is only one mistranslation. And the original account that uploaded the video has sent out an apology. And it seems to me, and this is just my opinion, it looks like this was made by a lawyer, where they say, I would like to sincerely apologize for the incorrect English subtitles created for Mr. Kazuhiko Torishiyama statement. In the scene where he mentioned Puritan, it was mistakenly translated as sex education.
Yeah, I think Puritan probably would have been more accurate.
Looking at the context of that quote, he was basically saying that religion has an influence on sex education.
Of course it does.
But the proper translation now says Puritan, like Puritan culture, which is more accurate and seems like it makes more sense. And that's not a part of the video a lot of people really cared about. People cared about the comments of the Dragon Quest creator,
obviously,
referring to the Type A and Type B body types, the censorship of the outfits, and how they seemingly had that stuff forced upon them.
It's even worse now. That's the thing,
don't really like it, and they're doing this because apparently to them,
because Puritan's way more broad than religious.
Aware of some sort of context where they have to do this in order to get into Western markets. Those are the way more important parts of this interview, and you're saying one mistranslation of one phrase in this nearly 3-minute interview is enough to basically dismiss this whole thing. And a lot of people are looking at this and thinking, this is an act of censorship, and this person felt a need.
Well, let's be honest. If it was so massively mistranslated, then you would have had a bunch of other people pushing and saying, no, idiots, this is what it actually means. And you would have had people that use TTS with Google, and they would play it, because like I've seen, like now you have like these AIs that can just listen to a conversation and translate it in real time to another language. So if it was really that far off, you would have seen 1 million people calling this out. That didn't happen. I wonder why.
You out of fear of a lawsuit to take down the related videos.
I wonder.
And a lot of people have noticed, and a lot of people are saying, wait. This seems like they're trying to cover up what was said by the Dragon Quest creator, and now they're trying to wipe this off the face of the internet. But as I said earlier, the internet is forever, and these videos are all over the place. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with YouTubers and other content creators who covered samples of this interview, because are they going to go try to take those videos down? I think that would be a very big mistake. I don't think people are going to fold as quickly as this.
No, it just like at that point, everybody would be talking about it.
They will put up much more of a fight. And again, as a PR perspective, if they do something like that, that is about the worst thing they could do. It's a fair use of that clip, fair use coverage and commentary. So if they want to go that next step, they're going to be really shooting themselves in the foot. But for now, that appears to be the situation so far with Dragon Quest III Remake. I'm sure this won't be the end of it. I have a feeling this is going to be dragging out further, and we'll see how they respond to criticism of this decision and coverage of this entire situation. But for now, it's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.
Well, I had no idea they actually deleted it. And I think this really goes to show kind of what I was saying before. There's the video. Like, this is... I had no idea they deleted this shit. That is nuts. A good video? Yeah, it was. Is that these ideologies and these types of thinking can only exist inside of an echo chamber that protects them. Like, the moment that they come outside of that and they enter the free marketplace of ideas, they immediately die. So the only way that these types of ideologies can be protected, or sorry, the only ways that they can exist is if they are protected. And they have to be protected, because if you basically apply any degree of like logic or thinking to them, they immediately fall apart. Not allowed to criticize. Yeah, you can't criticize these ideologies, because if you do, then they fall apart. So it's that simple. They said don't care, but they must be deleted. Yeah, obviously it matters. Of course it matters. 100% it matters. Throne Liberty also has body types, shruggers. Yeah, a lot of games do. And I think that they will continue to do that until enough people voice dislike in it, and then it will go away. It's actually very simple. Companies do things like this because they think that they're appealing to an audience of people. And the moment that the company thinks that it's not going to be beneficial, then they will stop doing it immediately. Nobody actually cares. Nobody actually really wants this. And so if enough people are outspoken and they say, hey, we don't like this, then the company will change it instantaneously, because the company never cared in the first place. They're just using these tools. They're using these social ideologies, and like everything, they use them in order to get people to buy their products. That's it. They don't care about gay people. They don't care about women. They don't care about black people. They don't care about any of this. All they care about is money. And if they can use black people to make money, then they'll do it. If they can use women to make money, then they'll do it. If they can use anything to make money, they'll do it. Gay people, right? Like, that's just how it is. That's why, like, I mean, look at, for example, like Blizzard. Like, they're like, oh, it's Pride Month. By the way, we're selling a bunch of clothes that have rainbows on them. They're just making money off of this. It's really surprising for me to see this, and to see so many people be so easily taken advantage of, because it's so obvious to me whenever this is happening. And I also want to say that things are turning around in a lot of ways, and I think that it's going to be, like, the overcorrection is going to be problematic as well. Yeah, here we go. Toyota announced that it will no longer sponsor LGBTQ parades and events, and will no longer make efforts to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. So this is already, like, it's already happening, because Toyota never cared. None of these companies actually care. Why would they give a shit about this? They're just doing it for money. And the thing is that everybody will be like celebrating Toyota doing this. Oh, wow, Toyota's so based. But I hope you understand that if at that point you're just as stupid as the woke people who were celebrating that Toyota posted something about gay people. Because this company exists to make money. It doesn't exist to reinforce your ideology. It doesn't exist to tell you that the way that you live is the right way to live. It only exists to make money and to extract that money from you in a way that's the most appealing as possible. So everybody's saying W Toyota, sure, you can be happy that they're not doing DEI or sponsoring like pride parades, definitely. But you have to understand that the reason why they're doing it is the same reason why they did it. They never cared, and they don't care about you now either.